Welcome to Parenting on Purpose, a podcast where we discuss parenting topics to help you raise your children intentionally so that they find their unique purpose, place, and contribution to the world. My guests will be sharing childhood stories that have impacted their adult life to help us understand why parenting on purpose is so important. I will also answer your questions on how to raise children to be successful inside and outside the classroom. I'm your host, Afia Bayayi. I've been a teacher for over 15 years, teaching children as young as 4 all the way to age 18. I believe that a successful life is a life lived on purpose for a purpose. Our guest today is Damilola Bode Ogundipe. She's best known as the Fit Mom Hub. She's a fitness communicator, coach, speaker, and author. She's the founder of the Fit Mom Hub, which is a wellness and fitness company whose vision is raising fit and healthy families, one mom at a time. Welcome, Dami. So good to have you here.
So good to be here, Vera. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Honestly, I follow you like a hawk. I'm your little stalker on Instagram. You have over 13,000 followers now, don't you?
Yes. At the moment, yes.
Wow, it's amazing. I love what you do, and I had to have you on Raising Your Child on Purpose. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So the first thing really, can you just tell us your journey to the Fit Mom Hub? What's your story?
My story, oh my gosh, my story starts with motherhood, right? I tell people I didn't do one lick of exercise until after I had my son about 9 years ago. So people are usually surprised. They're like, for real? I'm like, yes, motherhood pushed me into it. That's why I'm so passionate about this. So I started, of course, every new mom, you put on the baby weight, you have the baby, and you look in the mirror and you're like, who is this? I don't recognize this body. I don't see this person. So I started a journey to lose weight. And on my journey, I just realized that at that point in time, I wasn't finding information that was customized to where I am, which is here in Nigeria, right? Yeah. At that point in time, all you had on the internet were things, good information, but really not, it's not taking into consideration our past situation here. It's not taking into consideration availability of food. I was a new mom. I didn't have time to go to the gym. So I had to start doing my own research. I was like, I'm not ready to give up my local foods. I'm not ready to do this. So from all that research, I started enjoying it. People started asking me for help. And from there, it just took on a life of its own. I started, and then somebody was like, oh my gosh, I'll pay you. I was like, are you joking? You pay me?
Wow.
You pay me for this? Like, I didn't even think of it as a career. I was just so passionate about it. When you discover something, you're like, yes, it's actually possible. Because I hated it when people would say, oh, look at you. Just wait till the kids come. Just wait. And I'm like, so if the kids come, does that mean, I have to lose sight of who I am? And also, that was the journey to the Fit Mom Hub, and I've not looked back since.
It's amazing. I can't believe it. I honestly thought that you probably grew up, in fitness and all that kind of stuff.
No.
Because what attracts me so much to you, of course, there are many fitness coaches and all of that, but with you, I love how you say this on every video you put out, raising fit and healthy families, one mom at a time. Why did you go for that? I love it personally, but I want to know, why did you go for that slogan?
See, let's be frank. Yeah. Moms are the bedrock of society. That's the honest truth. I don't know who wants to deny it, but that's the honest truth. In every home, a mom dictates what happens, basically. She dictates how the family eats. She dictates the family's values to a large extent, because as much as things are modernized now and everything, she's still largely the primary caregiver, right? And so I started having patients. I started, not patients, clients. I started seeing kids with high blood pressure, with pre-diabetes, 13-year-olds. You're talking about really young kids. And I was like, okay, you know what? These things are lifestyle diseases. They are lifestyle sicknesses. I'm not a doctor. I'm a wellness practitioner, and I'm aware of the power of the fork and knife. And I know that from the family table, we can really tackle a lot. So I was like, if we can get the moms in, teach the moms, coach the moms, let them go in turn and become their family's coach. then you're raising a generation that has fitness, that has movement, that has optimal nutrition as their default. So for a lot of us, we came to fitness grown up because we wanted to lose weight.
Yes.
But then I see my kids, I randomly walk in and my daughter is doing a push-up and my son is talking about yoga. It's in the, I mean, they still love the candy, they still love but they don't frown when I give the smoothies, put the broccoli with the pasta. You know, so it's default. So that's really my passion, that get the moms to really understand. And then they coach their families and then we can raise, you know, fit and healthy families that way.
Do you know what? You can see people that know me and my listeners, they I'm sure they're getting why I'm so drawn to you. Because the truth is the same thing. I went into education, 15 years ago, straight out of uni, and determined to change education in Nigeria. That was my drive. And as I was pushing to, learn how to really get the children to want to learn for themselves, to be able to find out who they are on the inside and release that to the world, it quickly started to dawn on me as I was in the classroom that if I don't get through to the parents, I'll never get the kids.
Exactly.
I'll get the kids so far, but if I don't get the parents at home, it's back to square one.
Exactly.
I totally agree with you. So I just want to ask you this. In fact, I'm jumping to this question because I'm so keen to hear. How have the moms responded to this thing of telling them? Because you're basically, I watch your videos. Nobody should be mistaken here. You are firm. You are kind, but you are very firm and very fierce. And you tell them they can do it. And you're so, very clear that moms can do it. And they are the ones who go back and coach their kids. How do they respond to that? When they tell you, but I had twins, I have three, how do you deal with that?
So like, I tell people, I don't really care about being nice. I don't care about being nice.
This is true.
I'll rather, like you say, be firm, be just, be clear, and I will tell you the truth.
Yes.
And the truth is, anything at this point, in my opinion, anything at this point with a child at a certain age it might not be your fault, but it's your responsibility.
I love it. I've said that. I love it.
It's your responsibility at this point. So if you have an overweight child, I'm sorry. I know you might be trying your best, but you need to try hard enough. That's how I see it. So I will tell you the truth. Most times it's uncomfortable. Most times, especially my mindset videos, they don't get as much traction as the other videos, but I know people are watching. I know people are listening, and then they'll slip into the DM later, not comment publicly.
Yes.
So that's why I don't really give eye to, how many comments, how many likes, because I know what's happening behind the scene. And my point is, I'll keep on saying it. You might not like it. You might look at she's coming again, skip. But you're going to come back at that point in time and be like, okay. So they're usually uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Some go off for a long time and then they come back. And they're like, because I'm like, you know what? The fundamentals are there. The fundamentals are true. They're never going to, they're never going to change. So the earlier we get with the program, the better. So when somebody comes with an excuse, I'm empathetic. I've been there.
You are. Yeah.
I understand. But I also understand that this is important. So how are we going to balance it? How are we going to merge it? I'm all about, let's face reality. You are busy now. Is your life going to be less busy in 6 months? Usually the answer is no.
No.
So let's get started.
You see, the thing is, this is what I love about you, because as I said to you, what drives you is your passion. And so your passion for seeing healthy families, and I can see your passion for, it's like the way you train and the way you talk, I can tell, because this is similar for me as well. You care about the generation. It's not about just the person standing in front of you. And that passion drives you to be honest. The truth is that I agree with some of these people, because when I'm having a burger, I don't like seeing your posts. So let's talk about behavioral change, because another thing I love about you, you go for the root cause. You go to the mindset. How has it been in your experience, changing the mindset of the parents, and the children in order to get this result?
So it's usually In fact, I love, especially when we start off at first and everything is fresh, you can literally see the scales falling off their eyes.
Yes.
Like, because from day one, when somebody, so recently, one of the clients, she's actually my cousin, right? And at the end of the day, when I was just asking, how's everything going? And she was like, she listed all the things. She's a doctor. And you know, doctors, high stress job, always snacking. She listed all the things that she would have had normally. And she was like, but today I've just had this and this and that. That was within one day.
Wow.
I didn't do any magic.
Mm-mm.
I didn't give any magic tea. I just explained how looking at this from a different, it's usually just about perspective.
It is.
It's usually just about perspective.
I totally agree. I'll just come in there quickly because the
Yeah.
first thing I always teach parents when I'm working with them one-on-one is changing the perspective. That is day one. It's amazing. Change your perspective, and then a lot of things follow. So again, with you, I see that you do the deep work because you want to empower the mums.
Yeah.
Please carry on. Tell us more about how you.
Yeah, so just like you said, empower, because I tell them my goal is not to make you dependent on me forever. I'm not, I don't, no, honestly, I'm not, you know, some coaches want you to go, come back. No, become your body's coach. Understand your body. I don't need you to understand the whole scope of fitness and nutrition. Just understand how it works with your body.
Yes.
By the time you do that, you're able to master and own your process and then translate that into practical terms for your family, right?
Yeah.
So the perspective is always important because most people come at it at the rush. Oh, I want to lose weight. I want to get the kilos off. I want to do this. I want to do that. On my program, if I tell you, check your weight at the beginning, I never throughout ask you, oh, check in, what's your weight now? I'm really not concerned. Surprisingly, people are always shocked. Aren't you going to ask us to check in with our weight? And I'm like, no, because my goal is by the time you come, your focus shifts from a number on the scale to lifestyle, to health. Because a healthy weight is always a byproduct of a healthy lifestyle. It's inevitable. So if I get you to focus, shift your perspective from that number on the scale to your health, to how you're feeling, to your endurance, to your energy levels, to your ability to run with your children on the playground. By the time you do that, the actions that you're going to take are going to be more deliberate.
Yes.
You are going to understand and learn the process. And then by the time you do that, you're able to relax and you're like, okay, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So let me pace myself appropriately and do things the right way.
I love it. Spot on. Because I always say to parents, take the long view. And I want to mention this thing about numbers because this happens in every area of life. We're also focused on the grades, the numbers, but, you know, even in the workplace, the profits, the bottom line. And every time we look for those short-term goals, the quantifiable ones, we miss the bigger picture, which is the one that you can't really quantify. So I say to parents, you want to work on your relationship, connection, and the character of your child. The grades will follow.
Exactly.
When you're chasing the grades, like in your case, when they're chasing the numbers, yeah, everything else falls apart. I love this so much. So I have to ask you this. Okay, let me just confess one of my own issues. One thing, I don't know if this is in my mind or if this is a reality, but I have some evidence for it where people honestly are precious with their children, and I understand that, and feel like it's my child, so I should know best. And I'm not really coming in to say you shouldn't know best, but I just also feel like sometimes there's a reluctance, as much as there's a reluctance to really admit there's a sensitivity when it comes to the child because they feel like it's my child, I should know best. So I wonder whether you notice that with, it's my body, don't tell me what to do. You know, I don't know if there's any, you're nodding. So
I'm nodding because it's the same. You're like, oh no, my body cannot take that.
Yeah.
My body cannot do that.
Yeah.
My body, and I'm like, I know you can take it. I know you can do it. But I need you to go through it too. So, because that's the thing, I'm glad people are waking up to the place of expertise.
Yes.
Right. Because people usually people look at, oh, what's a child coach? What's a parenting coach going to do for me? What's a fitness coach? What do you mean? But we only do the best within the limits of what we know. And what do we really know? At the end of the day, by the time you sit down to think about it, what you know about parenting, you picked up subconsciously.
Yes.
What you know about fitness, you picked up subconsciously.
Yes.
Most people grew up hearing their mothers complaining about losing weight and diet and having to eat salads like goats and all. So most people, honestly, most people picked up the concept of fitness as something that is so strenuous, that's something that deprives you.
Yes.
And so those background programming are directing them, but they are not aware. And so I'm like, you know what? You came to me, trust me with your process. Yes. And then and I'm like, you know, your health is my priority. So I don't do anything that will ever jeopardize that. So by the time you take 1-2 steps, they're like, I mean, you have people who come who don't drink water in 2 days, right? Yes. You have people who come who go 2 days without drinking water. It's usually soda or, you know, so there's a lot of behavior that needs to... And that's the beauty of it. Immediately they start to see returns. The stomach that I told you wasn't fat is probably bloating, is starting to go down because you're not filling it up with gas, right? The headaches you used to have are going because you're flooding your system with adequate water. It's doing what it needs to do. So it's a process, and at times you can't blame people because there are a lot of scammers out there also who like, oh, I'll do this, I'll do that, and then they've gone on so many things. I'm usually the last buster. Because my message is not popular. My message is not come on, this 5 kg in 10 days. So by the time they've gone round, then usually they come because I'm saying, like, I'm tired, I've tried everything. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's try this one more time. So that's how that
makes it makes so much sense, because you find that you're right. A lot of times as well, when I speak to people, it's almost like, but tell me what I can do to change this. I'm like, we have to go, as in to where has this come from? Let's go back to how you were parented, go back to your society. You know, there's so much around it. And this is where the next point I'm coming to in your message, there is no quick fix. There's no quick fix, but people always want a quick fix.
Yeah.
So they want to lose weight for the wedding or for the something. I mean, what would you say is wrong with that kind of approach? Just try and put it in context for us. What's wrong with that sort of approach?
So, you know, in NLP, which I know you're familiar with, there's a saying, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Thank you.
And we bring it, I mean, in the past last decade or so, we've seen the rise of pyramid schemes, get rich quick. We bring those behaviors into everything. Yeah. Now, I love social media. I love, you know, the modern life. I love everything. But it has had side effects that we can get everything now. We can, as we're talking, like, I can order food. I can order this. I can order. I was joking the other day that the DHL delivery man recognizes me because I get so many deliveries. Like, you can get anything right now. So we've become conditioned. Now, I want it now. I mean, so, you know, programming is so powerful, especially because we're usually unconscious. So we come to the same thing with weight loss. So it took you 5 years to add the weight. And then you want to come and in 2 weeks, you want to lose it all. And at the end of the day, you lose it for the wedding, but you acquire behaviors that are going to be detrimental way after the wedding is over.
Oh, you hit the nail on the head.
Right? So at the end of the day, I'm like, what do you want? You want the quick. So people come to me and like, okay, if I sign up for your program, how many kg can I? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I cannot give you, I can't give you a number. I refuse to do that. People come on, lose barely 2 kgs, go down to dress sizes. What is your goal? Is it a number on the scale or fat loss? Not even just weight loss. So that is it. I think the fact that we can have everything, TV on demand, internet, I mean, you're over there in the UK, I'm here in Nigeria, we're talking. Yeah. The fact that you can have it, secondary school, before you could get a message to your parents at home from boarding house.
I never managed. I don't know how you did.
Like, before, but my niece is in secondary school now, and she's having the choice from apple pies to pizza to this. Laundry is being done. You know, it's so different. So I think it's gone into every area of our lives, and we just want everything quick.
It's so true. But the fact of the matter is the things that really matter, like our health, our children, none of them come quickly. They take a long time and take a lot of intentionality, which is another thing I see very much in you. A lot of deliberate, consistent actions, because you're right. It took us years to get to the point where we are in our parenting, and it took us years to get to the point where we are in our body and our weight and all of that. So absolutely spot on. I really want people to recognize that. And it takes off the pressure that we put on ourselves when we want something quickly. Yeah, and allows us to focus on what's actually important, not just, oh, I want to look, because looking good for the next party is superficial, let's be honest. Making sure that my friends think I look nice, or making sure that my child gets this grade for this, so they look, it's superficial. The long term is the successful, emotionally stable, child, and that's what we're going for. So there's so much that I see parallel between you and I. The other thing is, every time, I don't know if this is normal for other people, but for you as a fitness coach, every time I see you, you are dressed and sweating, working out. It's I don't know, all your posts, even when you're giving us a mindset, but you can see you're sweating. I'm like, please talk to us. Talk to us about this. You live your message. You are always working. So talk to us about this, please.
I think it's if that's one thing I will hold until I die. I don't practice what I don't preach what I don't practice.
Yes.
That's my personal, I feel it's very deceitful. I feel it's one of the 7 cardinal sins to go forth and tell somebody to do something that you don't live.
Thank you.
Somebody was asking me one day, do you struggle with content? I'm like, no, my life is content. Because it's what I live, right? So if I'm going through something, or a client is going through something, it's very easy for me to relate. It's very easy for me to come up with something, because I truly believe what I'm preaching. I truly believe that it is an enjoyable lifestyle. It's a fantastic lifestyle. I truly believe, and I know that the discipline and the lessons you learn from fitness seeps into other areas of life. I tell moms that if you I don't have time, I don't have this, it's simply because you're not organized.
Wow.
If you want to, so somebody was complaining because sleep is also an important aspect of weight loss, right? And she was saying, oh, she can't get to bed on time. And all I asked her was, do your kids have a sleep routine? She's like, no. If your kids don't have a sleep routine, you cannot have a routine. See? It's not possible, and you're never going to bed on time.
Yeah.
So it's what I live. It's what so you cannot, I can't separate it from me. So you will see, yes you'll see me sweating, you'll see me fitness clothes. And that is why I can speak from the heart. Yeah. And I guess why people connect also, because you can tell that, you know what, this is just what I know. I'm not going to tell you to never eat chocolate. I'm not going to tell you to never eat a burger, right?
Yeah.
If you see my stories, you say I have all sorts of foods and delicious, but all I want to do is help you strike a balance that prioritizes your health without compromising the, quality of life, your enjoyment and everything. So, I mean, that's what it is, being authentic. And even when your videos come up, and if there is like, she's like, oh my God. You can tell, like, she just wants to reach across the screen and be like, don't you get it?
It's so true. And sometimes I worry that, oh my gosh, am I coming off, but it's the passion. And I see that in you as well. It's like, guys, we want to work, and I honestly love something about you. This is just my mild OCD. I don't know if anyone else will agree with me. I love the fact that when I go on your page, all I see is fitness. Even when you're dressed, you tell us what you've done and the message behind it. I'm not saying that. I like the fact that in every message, you remind us about raising healthy families and you keep it consistent. I just love that. I'm going to ask you one more question. In fact, I've got loads, but I'm going to ask you a question about your kids because that's another thing I love. My goodness. Yes, I think I've confessed here. I do stalk your page. It's clear now. But you model fitness and you do it with your kids. I have a thing I say to parents all the time: whatever you find that is good for you, mom and dad, it's better for your children. Talk to us about why you involve your kids with fitness this young, as in lifting tires and stuff. Tell us.
It's just like the vision says, raising fit and healthy families one mom at a time. And they say charity begins at home, so to speak. But not just that. Aside from what I know professionally about all the benefits of fitness for kids and everything, I'm just passionate about raising well-rounded children, right? I'm passionate about letting children explore, be all they can be, physically, mentally, emotionally. It's a pity that around here, over there, and I know in the States and all, from when kids are young, they're engaged in basketball clubs, peewee football clubs, this and that, and we don't really have so much of that here. So I engage them. I want them, most of all, to see it as natural, to see movement as natural, right? I want them to default, take the stairs instead of the escalator. I want them by default, right? So yes, say I'll have the dessert, but I'll have my veggies first. And I don't want it to be something that is stressed. I don't want it to be something that is forced. I don't want it to be, something that is, I want it to be a lifestyle basically from them right from when they're young. So, and it's something like since they were babies. So they see me do it. And I tell parents, if they see you do it, they will do it.
They will.
And then so you see, they now start sending me pictures. Oh, the young ones joined in, and I'm always so happy. And then you have husbands too. Oh my goodness. You have husbands too joining in. And I'm like, yes.
Wow.
That's it. Like, goal, score, mission accomplished.
Oh, I love it. It's, it's so funny because I can see in your face and how happy you are talking about this, because it means so much. It's so important. It really does. So my next question for you is, how has your journey to fitness, and I know that you've talked about it a bit already, but how has that affected your parenting as a whole? And what I mean by this, I want to be even more specific, is what are the things that you have taken from your fitness intentionality that has now spilled over into the way you parent? And I'm just going to tell you why I'm asking this. Because when I work with parents, I always say to them, if you, mom and dad, use your strengths to raise your kids, you'll see the difference. What are you naturally good at? Because that thing you're naturally good at, if you use the same principles when you're addressing your children, you will see a big difference. So please just tell me how your attitude to fitness affects how you raise your kids.
The biggest one is patience. Patience.
I love it.
Patience. Because when it comes, maybe whether I'm chasing a PR in the gym, whether it's wanting to see a particular body goal, whether it's wanting to see patience, you have to have patience. And in parenting, I tell when my friends, when they're like, how do you do it? How don't you spank? I'm like, patience.
Patience.
The funny thing is, by nature, I'm not patient.
I think I remember that.
I'm one of the most impatient people I know.
Yes.
But when it comes to my kids, or when it comes to my clients, when it comes to fitness, and fitness really gifted me that. Yes. I find out that I can be so patient, right? So the first thing it's taught me is patience, because, with kids and with the way we were brought up in this environment, kids are seen, not heard. Kids are, and we're changing everything around. So if you ask my daughter to do this and she's like, why? Subconsciously, you have to be patient enough to be able to explain and say, this is why. Yes. This is this is that. So it's taught me patience. It's taught me the power of just understanding the uniqueness of each child.
Yes.
Because when it comes to fitness, there are so many. In fact, that's what excites me most about it. There are like so many goals you can chase, but they can be so unique. So it can be mobility, flexibility, balance. You become a beginner in each one at different times. And I have two kids, a boy and a girl. They're very similar, but they're very different also. And so I also have to take the time to study and understand and because of their uniqueness, read the intent behind their actions and then react accordingly. So I think those are the two biggest things that fitness has, helped me with parenting.
Oh, I love that, because it's clear that you've used your strength in that area and you've treated your kids with that same kind of, with those same strengths. People don't realize it, but for me, again, patience was one thing I struggled with, but because I was a patient teacher, I knew that in teaching with the number of kids in front of me, I had to learn patience. So once I had my children, I knew to be patient with them. It's the same. I say to mom and dad, sometimes I ask them, what do you do for a living? How do you approach your boss or your client when you're working on a project? When you make a mistake on the project, do you rip it up, chuck it in the bin? You don't do that with children. But honestly, addressing, and it's so funny when you get parents to talk about what they're passionate about, they naturally say all the things. They light up. This is it. And they naturally say all the things that you want them to apply to their fitness and to their parenting. It's always I really believe it's in us.
Yeah.
I really believe it's in us. So I'm just going to ask you this. What final thing would you say to our listeners who are parents, both about raising healthy families and just about and something encouraging for them in their parenting? Just anything.
So parenting, I'd like you to just remember that we are all learning, right?
Yeah.
We're all learning, unlearning, and thanks to people like Behaviour who are helping, because we have to. I was saying to my husband one day that I really think it's unfair when we compare our kids to how our childhood was. Mm-hmm. So, people will say, oh, they are on their tabs so much, they're whatever. When I was young, we used to run around on the trees and everything. And I asked the person, I was like, have you provided that environment for them? And they said, no, I don't want to run. I don't want to climb trees, right? Yeah. So I think it's important if we want to make parenting as enjoyable for us and the kids. Context for me is always key. Context. Look at how the child is behaving, what the child is saying, how the child is acting in context of the current realities, right? Like, so that example, I'm not saying, oh, screen time, go all. But I'm saying that child is going to continue to fall short of your expectations if you're comparing that child to your childhood, right? So let's keep context in mind, right? You want a child to be this, let's provide the enabling environment. Yeah. We're all learning, we're all unlearning. I tell people, and this is the one I always want people to remember, your kids are just little humans.
Yes.
They're just little humans, right? They're little humans. I say, you come back from work, you're frustrated, you've had a long day, I'm like, kids experience the same thing.
Yeah.
They've gone a long day in school. For them, those emotions are big also, as big as your emotions. So if a child is acting out, it's not about being, maybe she or he, a 5-year-old can have a bad day.
Yeah.
A 5-year-old can have a falling out with a best friend in school. And come up the same way you'll be sulking, right? So when we just look at it from that perspective, it really, really reduces the tension. Yeah. And of course, run to a bear where you need more.
I'm on this journey too.
Yeah, parenting. I'm discovering that it can be as easy, especially if we decide to do the work now.
Yeah.
Just put in the foundation work, and as they grow older, hopefully it gets better.
It's true. It's like the fitness, isn't it? Thank you so much for that. Because even with fitness, you tell us, do the work now.
Do the work now. Do the work now. Do the work now.
It'll pay off later on.
It'll pay off, honestly, because when people, so for example, when people ask me, so, oh my gosh, I'm like, yes, I eat. I like food. Like I eat. But they're like, I can't eat like that. I'm like, you've not put in the work I've put in. So I've built my metabolism. My metabolism requires me to eat this much, but I've put in the work, right? So I might go a month without working out. You might go a month without working out. By the time we both go back, I snap back like that. To use the phrase in 3, everything comes back because there's remembrance. I have put in the work. Just like you said, so it translates into everything. So if you can put in the work now, the benefits, are
honest. Do you know what? I was looking forward to this conversation. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And I just feel like we need to hear more people like you, more people. And for me, I'm passionate about our continent. I want more people from Africa speaking like this, not thinking about the short term, what's in front of us, but actually thinking transgenerationally, because that's what will really cause us to rise, which is all we want. And I know I'm going to, but I just feel like, especially when people are working with families and young people, I feel like all the change that we want in our nation starts from the home. Thank you so much. The Fit Mom Hub, you gave me some time, and I'm so glad we have learned so much. Thank you so much for being on our show. Parenting on Purpose podcast.
For having me. I enjoyed it.
Remember to subscribe, leave a rating, and share with a parent who cares. You can follow me on Instagram at abiara.broly, where I post tips and videos regularly to help you on your parenting journey. Let's do this together for our kids.